Today, I'm going to show you how you can grow a citrus tree in a container. I'm in my herb garden in an area that gets at least 8 hours of sun. So it's full sunlight, and that's exactly what my citrus tree needs. I'm going to be planting a dwarf Meyer Lemon tree. This is my all-time favorite citrus tree. It's a cross between an orange and a lemon. So it's a little bit sweet, but it does have that tang of a lemon. It's really aromatic, but the best part, it has got to be the juiciest lemon, and I swear I'm barely squeezing it. And you will be able to squeeze your Meyer lemon all the way until you break through the rind. Anybody want some Meyer lemons? One of the most important things about planting a citrus tree in a container is you need to select a dwarf citrus tree variety. Now there are standards, which are your regular growing citrus trees, which can grow 30, 40, 50 feet. And then your dwarf varieties that have been cultivated so that they can grow much slower and much shorter, maybe tapping out at about 10 feet. When you go to your garden center, ask your garden pro, where are the dwarf trees? And head over there. You'll be surprised. You can find many different varieties of dwarf trees, including your Meyer lemon, yuzu, eureka, even varieties like Buddha's hand. And if you're into the exotic, calamandan. If they don't have these trees at your garden center, you can always ask them to order it or look online. Now that you know to get a dwarf tree, it's good to also be able to recognize what a dwarf tree looks like compared to a regular growing tree. I've got two 5-gallon Meyer lemon trees here side by side. Do you notice how there's one that looks like an actual tree with a long trunk? That's what you call your regular or your standard tree. So that'll grow full height. Then the one next to it, same size, same age, but look how short and shrubby it is. Well, that's your dwarf variety, and I took the shorty one home. And here we are. Container size is also critical. I have a 5-gallon tree here that I'm planting in an 18-inch container. And this is a nice container with a big drain hole, so I know that it's going to drain right. I also like the fact that it's a lightweight resin material, so I can actually move it around, and citrus trees can be a little bit heavy. When you're selecting the size of your container for your citrus tree, make sure you don't go up more than 1 or 2 sizes, because if you go too big, then you're going to risk drying out your tree because there's just too much soil to keep moist. Citrus trees need a specific type of soil that drains well, but at the same time retains a little bit of moisture. Remember, citrus trees are from the rainforest. They have those tropical rains, but then it tends to dry a little bit. So we're replicating this in a container. I'm using a citrus and palm mix for a specific reason. It has sand in it, so it helps water to filter through, but it also has a little bit of peat moss to retain a little bit of moisture. So let's start planting. Sometimes it's good to sit down when you're planting. Actually, I'm at the same level that my tree is. That way I could just kind of volley my weight and not really throw my back out. I don't want to work too hard. So first thing you want to do is gently remove your tree from the container. There we go. It's going to be a little messy, but you're in the garden. Okay. There we go. You see how nice it is? I just put it on my lap. No problem. So I'm going to take a look at the root system. Not too bad. I don't see it girdling. Looks like the roots are nice and free here. I like that. So I don't need to really break it up. What I do want to do is add a little bit of starter fertilizer, which is going to add just to the root area. It's going to add a little phosphorus and nitrogen and other nutrients that are going to help the roots start establishing themselves. So that's why I'm putting it directly on the root ball. Okay, now the next thing is really important. When you set in your citrus tree in the container, which I'm doing next right now, oh, you know what? This right here is too low. Take a look. Can you come in a little bit closer and see this? This is a little low, so I'm gonna lift it. I'm gonna get some help too. Let's check it now. Let's see. Okay, that's good. That's really good. So before you add any more soil, I want to show you something. I am going to open up this area. Can you see how I'm taking the soil away from the trunk? What I'm looking for is what you call the root flare. That's the area where the trunk meets the roots and it flares out. See that here, guys? It looks like a peanut. That is the root and it's flaring out. You don't want to bury that. That needs to be at grade or slightly above. Now we're ready to fill in with soil, but I'm going to make sure that I don't bury this. We want to reserve about 1 inch from the top so that the water doesn't just run out. And remember, soil settles, especially after you water it. So something you can do is kind of lift a little bit. Now that it's planted, the next thing is to water it thoroughly. The way you know your tree is ready for watering is you stick your finger in the soil all the way, like this. If it's starting to feel dry, water it. This is not a tree that wants to go completely dry. A rule of thumb is to give it deep soaks every once in a while rather than frequent shallow types of watering, because what happens, that encourages roots to grow only on the top level. That's not good for your tree. Start fertilizing your citrus tree in January when the growing season begins, and do this monthly through August. Hey, now you know how to plant a dwarf citrus tree in a container. For tips like this and all great things under the sun, follow me on Facebook and on YouTube. The show is Eden Makers, and I'll see you next week. Cut.
What's up, world? Let's get it poppin' with CC Mixer. It's your boy Jeff Williams. Word.